Today we are diving into the Detroit Red Wings and going over a player that you can say might have been Steve Yzerman's biggest mistake. You see, we've been making videos over the past few days talking about the Red Wings and what they've been doing well and where they end up blowing it, whether or not there is a new Yzer plan that needs to be put in place, and we're also diving into some of the players that can be seen as the scapegoat as to why the Wings are struggling right now. But instead of talking about who is on the team and doing poorly, let's talk about who is off the team and doing extraordinarily well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going over a fan favorite here on the YouTube channel today. It is Mr. Vladimir Tarasenko. 34 years old, 6 feet 218, a left-handed winger who is signed on till the end of this season making $4.75 million a year. He signed this contract with the Detroit Red Wings last season, and for the most part, Tarasenko was a guy that I was super excited to see get brought on to the Red Wings. Tarasenko has 2 Stanley Cups to his name. He has 2 second All-Star appearances to his name. He was a Stanley Cup champion with the St. Louis Blues back in 2019. He took a few years to recover from some injuries, and while the point production was technically there, he was a point per game the next season, and then he had 14 points in 24 games the year after that in that weird bubble year. Vladimir Tarasenko returned fully healthy, locked in, and ready to go, scoring his career-high 82 points in 75 games in 21-22. You can say, hey, the guy was 30 at that time, so kind of in the prime or the tail end of his prime. But as the years went on, Tarasenko proved that he can still be a valuable NHL player, and it's why he kept on getting work. He got traded to New York because the Rangers wanted him for their playoff run. He signed to go to Ottawa and inevitably got traded over to Florida to help out in their playoff run. He got 9 points in 24 games, winning a second Stanley Cup, and then he signed with Detroit, scoring 33 points in 80 games played. Now, I am not going to lie. Vladimir Tarasenko was not great with the Detroit Red Wings, but you can use what's happening this season to articulate whether or not that was Tarasenko's problem or the Red Wings' problem themselves. Because right now, with the Minnesota Wild, a noted good team, quote-unquote, that can, quote-unquote, actually win, according to Quinn Hughes, Vladimir Tarasenko has gone out there with 45 points in 71 games played. He had 11 goals last year with the Red Wings. He's got 23 this year. Do the math over 82, and that 45 and 71 becomes 52 points. He's on pace for 50-something points over a full season and about 25 to 26 goals, doubling his goal production and scoring the most goals that he has had in a season since 2021-2022, when he had 82 points. The Minnesota Wild are getting the best out of a lot of these guys, and I understand that you can say they're a better team than the Red Wings, right? They have an upper echelon of talent. They have 2 guys that are at the very top of the NHL in overall goal scoring. I'm not talking about Vladimir Tarasenko, but Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy are near the top of the NHL with 43 and 42 goals respectively. That's incredible. Then you go over to defensemen, and Quinn Hughes is there with 74 points. He would have had a lot more points if he was playing in Minnesota the entire season. I'm just going to be honest about that. But Vladimir Tarasenko has fit in so well to a Minnesota Wild core that has other Russian dudes that are also doing well. This trio of Yurov, Trenin, and Tarasenko, while it's true that these guys are at the 20-point mark, there were periods throughout the course of the season where they were all scoring like crazy. Not to mention the fact that there are 9 40-plus point scorers on the Minnesota Wild. 2 of them at 50-plus points are defensemen. And all of a sudden, for Red Wings fans, it's like, hey, what the hell? Where was this version of Tarasenko in Detroit? Take a look at this post that was made by Meltdown Rocks. He is a rock radio personality on WRIF, SiriusXM's Hair Nation. He posted this on Twitter. Where was this guy when he played for the Wings? I thought he'd help us a lot. And it is Tarasenko's point production from about 2 weeks ago when he had 20 goals and 20 assists in 64 games played. Erica responded saying, 40 points, are you kidding me? And we traded him for nothing. Literally nothing. What a joke. For reference, let's go out there and review the Vladimir Tarasenko trade over to the Detroit Red Wings, which saw him get traded for literally nothing. Vladimir Tarasenko gets sent over to Minnesota for future considerations. The Red Wings traded this guy away, a 40, 50-point caliber 20-goal scorer, for nothing. He's old. Oh, he's 34 years old. Oh, he's making $4.75 million to play in the third line in Detroit. Is that his problem? Is that the problem of the player for underperforming in a third-line role on a team like Detroit, only to see him produce 50-plus point pace when he goes to Minnesota and isn't even a first-liner with the Wild? Whose fault is that? It's so funny when you look at what Steve Yzerman decided to do with this dude. It's like, oh, Jake Wallman gets sent away for nothing? Okay. You pay something for Wallman to get sent away? Okay. You send Tarasenko away for free? Okay. It's kind of funny. Your reply says, LOL, it's 40 points. And you have a Wild fan that says, a 51-point pace player for free? We'll take that all day. Good. I hope the kid does well. He didn't work out here. What the hell are you talking about? He's not a kid, bro. Vladimir Tarasenko has kids. He's 34 years old. Okay, let's pause. Another reply says, 20 goals and 20 assists is a nice season. It would have been particularly helpful to a team that doesn't score like the Detroit Red Wings, as so eloquently highlighted by Erica SnazzyGoth69. LOL, it's only 40 points. Meanwhile, you've got Mason Appleton on the Red Wings with 65 games and 14 points. You've got Rasmussen with 14 points. You've got Casper with 18 points. You've got JVR with 30, who is essentially the in-season, in-spirit replacement for the type of package that Vladimir Tarasenko brought to the Red Wings. You downgraded. That's it. Straight up, you downgraded. And some of the other replies go out here and talk about like, oh, now look at their contracts. Zoom in on JVR. I know JVR is only being paid $1 million. It doesn't negate the fact that he's done F-all since the start of the year. Nah, JVR has done more than asked of him. We got an old man on a cheap contract and he has produced more than we thought he would. Which I actually do think is a fair way to look at it. JVR, I mean, say what you want about the contract and whatnot. I would also argue that from the Red Wings' perspective, anything that has to do with the contract is irrelevant in this discussion, because the Detroit Red Wings have so much gosh darn cap space right now. It's like, oh, well, Vladimir Tarasenko is making more money than JVR. Yeah, he's making $4.75 million. That contract was signed by Steve Yzerman. It's not like this guy's an overpaid $11.6 million bum like Elias Pettersson is. Vladimir Tarasenko is making very good money for a guy who's able to produce 50 points in a year if he just played the entire season. No, you can't tell me that this guy wouldn't have helped out Detroit if his similar level of production that he has right now was just cut and pasted over to the Red Wings. This team can't score. And I get it, you could say, well, the Minnesota Wild can score, and that's why Tarasenko is scoring too. Okay, fair. But how do you build a team that scores? You get players that can freaking score, and Tarasenko can do that. I understand that he didn't do that last year, but then again, Stevie Y let this guy go for nothing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Was this Steve Yzerman's biggest player personnel mistake over the last few years, letting Vladimir Tarasenko go for free when the guy's genuinely a 50-point, 20-something goal guy now? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.